Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, let's talk about the course, anger, resentment, and guilt. Okay, this has to do with a question or a comment somebody made in one of my videos in the Spanish channel. And the question says, or the comment says, "Hi Nick, you said you were not going to talk about A Course in Miracles anymore, and you keep quoting from it. That makes me believe that if I don't study the course, I won't be at peace." Today, anger, resentment, and guilt surfaced, along with the belief that those feelings should not be there. And I said, "It is not that I will not talk about the Course in Miracles anymore. Like any philosophy that points to truth, I quote from them as applicable to the content of the message. What I don't want is to be taken as a teacher or facilitator of any specific teaching. I am only sharing my experience as life has led me to live it, given that is how my script has unfolded. Regarding whether you don't take or study the course you won't be at peace, that would make the course a cult or a religion. Whether you study the course or not is irrelevant. The desire for peace arises within you first, and with that heartfelt intention, life directs your steps to the resource, if necessary, that will support you on your path." Now let me share something real quick of what the Course in Miracles says in the preface or preface. It says, "The course can and should stand on its own. It is not intended to become the basis for another cult. Its only purpose is to provide a way in which some people may be able to find their own internal teacher." Okay, so to me that's extremely important, because A Course in Miracles is simply another path, if you want to call it that way, that is pointing in the direction of the nature of our being. Now, if you feel interested or like the way I have talked about the course, I wrote two books. One is called What Happens When You Let God, and the other one is called What Happened After Letting God, which is more than 70 questions regarding the material and life in general and how it is applied to the material according to my understanding, my practice of the teachings of the course. They have been very well received, but again, that is how I view the course and how I put it into practice. So if this is something you would like to dabble into or so, then the books are available and that's up to you. Now, having said that, let's continue on. Then I said to the person, "Finally you say, today surfaced anger, resentment, and guilt, and the belief that those feelings should not be there." And I said, "First of all, if something surfaced, it must be there. End of story. The problem is the judgment of saying it should not be there. It's like me writing these words and then saying I should not have written them once they were written and sent. The important thing is not whether the anger comes out or not, which is just another dense energy. It's being able to see it as an event that has nothing to do with who you are in essence. The human experience is made up of all kinds of experiences, but who you are in essence has nothing to do with the human condition, and that's where the message of these videos are pointing to. It is not a denial of our experience, but rather an understanding of something that transcends the experience. So right now, let's say you're feeling anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't think that you may be feeling anger or resentment right now or so, but anyway, whatever is coming, whatever is felt, the fact is that you are. You cannot negate the fact of your beingness. You simply are. You're a pure being. That's all there is to it. Now, pay attention. Let's say there's a feeling or a sensation coming through right now, which is just a very dense energy. That's all there is to it. notice that you can be aware of that experience. That which is aware of the experience. Tell me, what does it look like? Find it. Find that which is aware of the experience. And you will not find a something that is aware of the experience. What you will find is the capacity of being aware, but you're not finding that which is aware of the experience. Because even if you say, I am aware of the experience, notice that you are aware of the thoughts, of the words that says, I am aware of the experience. But the capacity of being aware, awareness itself, is impersonal. It simply is. When you wake up in the morning, awareness of your surrounding happens before you even say, I am aware of anything. It's just pure seeing what happens. So right now, whatever feeling or sensation you may be happening, or you may be feeling, notice that without the capacity of being aware of that feeling, you cannot say a feeling or a sensation is happening. You have to be aware of that. There have to be the capacity of being aware of that. What happens is the mind says, this is my feeling, I am feeling this, or I am the feeling. But in reality, all I am is the awareness of the feeling or sensation, or even the thought, okay? Now, prior to the feeling being there, the capacity of being aware of prior to the feeling being there was also there, right? The capacity of being aware prior to the feeling being there was there. When the feeling arises, the capacity of being aware of the feeling is there. And when the feeling leaves, the capacity of being aware of the living, of the witnessing the feeling living, it's also there. The capacity of being aware, the awareness itself, has not changed, has not left, has always been. Because if I was the feeling, when the feeling goes, I would go too. If awareness was the feeling itself, when the feeling goes, then the awareness would go. But if the awareness goes, then what is left to be aware of the experience? You see? So, the capacity of being aware is present always. It never changes. And this is it. It's just overshadowed by a thought. By the thought that suggests, I am aware. I am a being that is aware of. But awareness is just being. Right now, you cannot negate the fact that you are. You cannot negate the fact of pure awareness. That cannot be negated. That's it. This is it. Now notice how the capacity of being aware is, again, colored, is simply overshadowed by whatever thought seems to be appearing in awareness. The thought, I am this individual. The thought, I don't know if I understand what this guy is saying. The thought, I gotta do this or I have to do that. The thought, this is a feeling that I shouldn't feel that way. No. Feelings come up. You just don't justify them. See, that's another line of the Course. The Course in Miracles says, anger cannot be justified. It never said that you don't feel it. It's that if you justify it, when you give it a meaning or whatever, that justification is what keeps it there. But if there's no justification, it's simply what is, then life is just basically a movement of energy and you remain as you are. That's what when I quote from the Course, if you're willing to renounce to be the guardian of your thought system and offer it to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you back to God. Which is another variation of the Bible when it says, be still and know that I'm God. Same thing. If you're willing to recognize that you know nothing, if you're still, then it's not that you're going to be returned back to what you are. You have always been, is that the recognition is there. When he says, I will correct it very gently and lead you back to God, it just simply is another way of saying, recognizing that I am God. That I am, okay? And this is where these videos are pointing to the fact that I am, you are, beingness, pure beingness. And this is it. This is direct experiencing. This is not This is not theory. Right now, can you say you're not aware? Can you say that awareness is not happening? Awareness is permanent. That capacity is there. Without the capacity of being aware, you could not say anything. You could not talk about anything. You could not be conscious of anything. And that's where this is all pointing to. Non-duality in the pure essence is not even aware of anything. There's not even awareness in non-duality. But within the limitation of language and within the experience we seem to be having, the closest we can get to is when we point to the fact that you are. But this is not something we can even talk about. In the Course in Miracles, there's many quotes that refers to that. And it says this course will lead you to knowledge, but that's beyond the scope of what this course is about. You cannot talk about what is beyond that. In another section it tells you, in time this may have happened a long time ago, but in reality it never did. And in the clarification of terms it tells you the ego, thought system, whatever, will ask questions or demand answers that this course cannot give you. Will ask questions as how the impossible occurred, to whom that occurred, whatever, as if their separation seeming had occurred, right? And it says there's no answer to that, just only an experience. Seek the experience and don't let the theology delay you. In other words, how do we seek the experience? Well, right now, right this moment. If you don't identify with any thoughts, if you don't believe any thoughts, it doesn't matter. There could be a feeling in there, there could be a sensation in there, that's fine. Don't believe any thoughts. If you don't believe any thoughts, what remains? And if you answer, you went back to the mind. You see? I'm not asking for answers, I'm pointing. Right now, if there's no identification with any thoughts, what remains? You see? That which remains is where this is all pointing to. Well, that is the experience, not the theology. You're not thinking what I remain as, or no, you're not thinking anything. You know, you sense that you are. In that are-ness, if you want to use that word, or isness, in that beingness, that pure beingness where there's the absence of judgment, the absence of I don't know, fear, whatever. That beingness, you see, is love. So you can call it love, you can call it essence, you can call it oneness, you can call it absolute, you can call it God. But in the end, if you give it a name, you overlook it again. That's why you cannot give a name to this. But this is where it's pointing to, you see. I'm not trying to name the nameless, I'm just pointing to the nameless, which is. So right now, if there's no identification with any thoughts, what remains? What remains is, again, is what you are. Which again is, it goes beyond the scope of language. It simply is. And now everything is seen as movements of energy. Some energies may seem to be very abstract, like thoughts. Some may seem very dense, like a feeling, sensations. But they're all passing clouds that have no power to affect the fact that you are. And you are, like the fourth book of the series, you are in which everything seems to appear and disappear. Well, these videos are pointing to what you are, not to the details of the things that seems to appear and disappear. So you see, the mind tries to find out what does it mean, I need to find answers. No, the mind cannot find an answer because the mind itself is an obstacle, is a thought in all that there is, and you are that. Well, this is inspiration that came through. I hope it served, and as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.